Hey everyone, before we start, I just want to give you a personal disclaimer that many of the things we would be suggesting in this video may sound unethical, especially at international level. But this was a tragic act, and things that happened post that were equally cruel. Nonetheless, this is strictly based on war tactics implemented across nations. We are not inventing anything new. This is a sensitive matter and we want to be equally sensitive. So all our work is in description below. With that, let's begin with the conflict between India and Pakistan now tamed. It is perhaps time to discuss and analyze what just happened. Now, there are a lot of ways of doing this and a lot of people did it in a brilliant way and also not in so brilliant ways. However, we're a business channel, so we are going to do what we do best. Create a business case study of the most significant military conflict of recent times. Why exactly are we doing it? Well, we all have our biases, but a wise man once said, business have no biases. To talk in general, this situation has been a great learning experience if you look at it. And believe me, putting it gently, we pretty much fell flat on our faces and we exposed ourselves to too many flanks that have or may have caused so much and it can't even be quantified. And this is a conclusion that I have came to after going through the whole process. So let's see if you agree with me or not. To start, we will rely on our old school SWOT and PESTEL analysis to get a broader overview of the matter. Let's start with strength. As usual, we can't be prouder of our Indian defense wing, all four of them, including RAW. Talk about military precision, neutralizing key terrorist leaders, disrupting command structures, seamless RAW and military integration, enabling precise strikes, and most important of all, overcoming Pakistani drones and aerial attacks, showcasing superior air and electronic warfare capabilities, and coming up with a plan of implementation in such a short duration despite political pressure we all know exists but not often talked about. Talk about professionalism, chain of command, and structure and respect and dignity. This is for the very first time we millionaires truly got to witness why our defense command such respect from the world. Second thing we did best was perhaps the pause on Indus River Treaty. And to be clear, it doesn't mean we have diverted or stopped water from going to Pakistan. That's complete fabrication, as we don't have the capacity to do that for now. What it means for now is we are no longer obliged to share data like water flow, snow melt, and river discharge, or allowing inspection by Pakistani officials. Moreover, we are now not bound to not develop any infrastructure on the river that may affect the flow of water to Pakistan. Developing any such infrastructure can be a brilliant move, as China also developed a similar kind of infrastructure on Brahmaputra river. However, this can be a slippery slope, as it might be used against us by China in a tit-for-tat move. Perhaps it is also time to reconsider National River Linking Project. Perhaps it has become equally important for us from both defense and development of the country. Food for thought. Now let's get down to weakness. Well, there are quite a number of weaknesses that we have encountered. Few that may include is that we are still facing casualties on our border due to heavy shelling. In fact, saying that India-Pakistan border is porous would be an understatement. We are a country that have been able to accomplish mission to Mars on our very first shot. With that technical capabilities, what is stopping us from implementing the same technology for securing borders? We can implement autonomous pods, thermal camera balls for setting up virtual borders, satellites and whatnot. Next weakness would be our international standing. But before we proceed on to that, let's just agree on the fact that maybe we are not doing that great diplomatically as we are claiming to be. And India officially is in a narrative bubble that works domestically, but that is where it ends. We have officially degraded our standing in the world. Saying otherwise would be a great disservice to this nation. Be it our incapability to lobby IMF to dispatch loan or rather even delay it. Be it to lobby support from any other nations in the conflict. Yes, every nation was sympathetic to the horrific terrorist act, but practically none sided with India. I repeat that, none of the countries sided India directly. And if you are seeing France or Israel then it was at a very low level, and that too none sided with India directly. Even when China directly supported Pakistan, we were incapable to lobby anyone to take our side. Next weakness that we have encountered would be the narrative battle. Now secondary battle is being fought on social media. So setting up the right narrative, doing the PR, as dirty and insensitive as it sounds, matters. And we unfortunately have to address that weakness. You see, with this interconnected world, making your voice heard and influencing your perspective at the world stage matters. In olden times, narrative and influencing was a task limited to diplomats and the world leaders. However, now it's a bottom-up approach all the way, meaning influencing the people to get the government to change their stance. Just to give you a perspective, it can be done using our huge population that is located everywhere around the world. I may also go to the extent of suggesting using or hiring troll farms in foreign nations to influence the people or the narrative, running paid campaigns, whatever it needs to get our perspective out there. I know, whatever I'm telling may sound dirty or unethical, but government didn't had any trouble using such tactics domestically. How about doing it for the benefit of the country for once? Now, the next one is very serious and was supposed to be our strength. However, has been a disaster for the amount of money that country has invested into it. Yes, we are talking about DRDO. Do you have any idea how much money have you poured into DRDO since its very inception? Before you answer that, let me tell you the fact that DRDO was established in 1958 and ISRO in 1969. So go ahead, take a guess. As per estimate, it sums up to approximately 3,36,420 crores compared to ISRO at estimated 3,55,000 crores. I mean, do I need to tell you anything else? What is DRDO doing? As it has nothing substantive to show. Even if you consider BrahMos, that is in collaboration with Russia, and too hefty price to pay for such single technology. See ISRO for example, that has made us self-sufficient when it comes to space technology. What is DRDO doing? Projects like Kaveri engine and Tapas drone have failed to meet the performance standards, forcing India to import engines and drones from abroad. DRDO's multi-mode radar project, despite receiving blueprints from Israel, reportedly failed to deliver, indicating issues in absorbing and replicating advanced technologies. The Arjun tank faced reliability issues as it was overshadowed by imported T-90 tanks, reflecting DRDO's struggle to meet military expectations. Literally, I have the examples of the size of the gizmo of how DRDO has failed this country again and again. Now let's move on to threat, and boy have we blew it. Now here's what we are going to do. We are going to increase the threat level as we proceed. For example, let's start with China. It may come as a shock, but the way I look at it, China is the most obvious yet pretty less threatening as compared to what are we going to see next. However, China has always been a threat to India, but now blatantly supporting Pakistan, we can't even fathom how disastrous it would be for India to get in a two-front war.
US officials have confirmed Pakistan used Chinese J-10 jets to launch missiles against Indian fighter jets.
Believe me, the threat of China could have been mitigated if we have focused on rapid economic growth, ease of business, investing in technology and science, leverage demographic dividend. But it seems that for the last few years we have been distracted by other important issues. But this is not the only factor. We have failed to create a diplomatic alliance that would have standed with us irrespective, but developed defense technologies that would be enough to counter Chinese technologies. Really, we need to ask ourselves, if push comes to shove, what is the one thing that world would need from us or fear us? Like the only reason why Taiwan is safe is practically no nation is able to match its semiconductor powers. If you have answers, feel free to comment. But as I can see, we neither have the technology edge nor the diplomatic one. So suddenly the threat of China has multiplied as China has left far ahead of us. So if China is the third biggest threat, what would be the second one? Well, the second biggest threat that we have is the Indian media. But before going to that, let's see this clip.
और भारत को आंतरिक बाह्य शक्तियों से जो सबसे बड़ा खतरा है, वो खतरा इस बात का है कि हमारे अपने लोग ही कहीं राष्ट्र की सुरक्षा, राष्ट्र की अस्मिता, राष्ट्र के गौरव का सौदा न कर बैठे, अपने आज के सुख के लिए अपने भविष्य को अंधकारमय न कर दें। और इसके लिए जो जागरूकता चाहिए, इसके लिए जो ताकत पैदा करनी है, वो ताकत केवल समाज के अंदर भी पैदा की जा सकती है। उसको केवल आप लोग कर सकते हैं।
So this was Ajit Doval, and this pretty much sums up my next 2 points. Indian media have lost all credibility and trust of the people of the Republic of India, to the limit that India media is now the second worst threat to this country. And I am saying this with the all responsibility and grief that you, sir and ma'am, have failed this country. You all must have heard the story of the shepherd and the tiger, of how no one believed the shepherd even if the actual tiger came. Same would be the case with Indian media. Every citizen, irrespective of the party affiliation, will always be in doubt of the information that might be coming from the Indian media. And have they ever thought for a second that how this could be weaponized against India? I mean, at the time of crisis, the flow of reliable information becomes the bedrock for victory. Any misinformation and all your advantage will be used against you. Don't you think that our enemies will be using this against us? Don't you think at the time of the crisis, this could create chaos? Don't you think that India media has created a monster that might consume this country and cause disproportionate lives with just one misinformation? And for what really have they really done this for? For TRP or for some advertising money? They have sold the honorary profession of journalism and in way become the threat for this country. Indian media has become a laughing stock in international community. Believe me, Sky News, which is a foreign media house, has done more service to this country than any Indian media channel. And what feels nauseating is they have done this at the time when country needed them. At the time, flow of information was essential. At the time of potential war. Even the Defense Ministry have to intervene of such abhorrent misreporting. Going back to Ajit Doval's speech of turning people against their own country. Well, this is a number one threat to this country. The troll farms that are spreading hatred.
Within hours of this announcement, the firing began on social media, mostly on X. Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri's profile was flooded with hate. They called him a traitor, they called him a sellout, they gave death threats, they threatened his family, they abused his daughter, they released her personal details. It was all disgusting.
One of the unfortunate developments today is that the Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri is being trolled on social media, including the lady officers who accompanied him during those media briefings. All of them are being targeted with many, trolling them over the calling of the ceasefire. Vikram Misri specifically is also being trolled regarding his daughter.
No one, not even the educated class, is immune to it. They are right now the number one threat to the sovereignty of this country. I mean, dividing the country and accomplishing exactly what Pakistan wanted, targeting Indian army and soldiers, really targeting our government officials who have represented our country and held the dignity of this country as a responsible nation. I think you know where I'm going with this. And this is so loathing that I don't even want to get into it. But imagine how China or Pakistan may use them to target institutions that until now have been held in the highest regard, be it Indian Army, Air Force, Navy, intelligence agencies, Supreme Court, or even the government. Yes, you have heard me right, as it is in snake's nature to bite. So we have gone through all the strength, weaknesses and threats. But what really can be done about this situation? What could be the opportunities that we will be able to apply right now for short term, medium term and long term? Let's discuss that in opportunities. To talk about opportunities, well, they are quite obvious and should be taken on at a wall level. In short term, deal with the threats of troll farm and Indian media immediately to restore reliable flow of information. Medium term, get DRDO in line. Do a complete revamp of the institution, so much so that it should be capable of generating technology at least at par with this world. Next, in medium term, also perhaps the time to get out of "we are the greatest" bubble and see how to improve our global standing. Perhaps also to create an all-weather alliances. As to be the voice of the South, we may have to stop uttering rubbish. In long term, first of all, we need to find something that we are irreplaceable for. Like the world would come to a halt without us. That's the definition of superpower. Next, we need to smell the coffee and see how far are we left behind. Focusing on things that doesn't matter. We have failed to leverage such young population and we need to engage them in productive and nation building because demographic dividend has the capability of being a threat from opportunity real soon. That's all for today. What are your thoughts of this whole case study? Please do tell us in our comments. Also, please do like, share and subscribe for more such interesting content. See you soon.